Chapter 81. Rack and Roll, Shadows of Centris. "They're so cute together," Jenny gushes as the broadcasting of the Orcs charity ball shows Koa with Nika and Nita just sort of out of sight. Amadi is in the diner she works at to both flirt with her and spy on her. The girl is a dedicated dead drop for numerous conspiracies. More than half the money she gets is from dropping off specific data chips to people who give the right countersigns, all of it in advance. Apparently she advertises this on a few news websites. It actually worked to bring in business. Didn't expect the big man to sneak his girls in. No doubt there's going to be some kind of interesting story. Amadi notes as he drinks the cup of Siln. It's basically a lukewarm hot chocolate that someone spiked, but only enough to vaguely taste the booze. It's actually pretty good and definitely a favorite off the menu. His communicator goes off to the tune of a shave and a haircut, meaning expect things in English. Amadi. He answers, "Dude, have you seen Vernon on the freaking tournament?" Bob demands so loudly that Amadi holds the advanced phone away from his head before turning it down somewhat. Jenny is now giving this her attention. "I'm in public and what they've got on the screen is the Orcs ball. What's going on? Did he do the thing?" Amadi asks, in reference to what he and a few of the other nerds had been bothering Vernon to do after helping him master time manipulation. "He did, but holy crap, he just threw the tournament." Bob gushes. "What? Why would he throw the tournament? Wasn't there like 50 things he was going to do in it? What the hell?" One of his opponents pissed him off so bad he broke his armor and walked out rather than fight them any longer. This was after he rendered her completely helpless with 2 more opponents on the field. Final round. Everyone's going for the gold and he throws it because the competition disgusts him. Apuk's space is going insane, Bob explains, and Amadi goes still as he tries to process what's going on. Has something like this ever happened before? Is there precedent? He asks after a bit. "We haven't found one outside of a fantasy novel or hell even in one. Dude, this is big." Bob gushes in excitement. "Well, we are out here to establish a reputation of some kind. Vernon just went and did that," Amadi says with a bit of a groan. "Is this good? Is this bad?" Sir Philip had spoken at length about public perception. Would this be seen as a tantrum from an immature child, or would this be seen as some kind of integrity? He'll need to watch what was going on to see for certain. "It gets better," Bob exclaims, and Amadi groans. "Hit me." Amadi says while taking a sip of the Silm. There are already rumors of the opponent Azion Hute trying to poison him between rounds and making bogus complaints to kick him out of the tournament. Apparently the last straw was insulting his wife and being told by an official that outright killing the bitch would still be considered a crime. Bob explains and Amadi considers. That could be good. That could be really, really good, actually. Amadi says. Yay, he lets it slide when she tries to sabotage him or poison him or even death threats. But insult the wife and he renders her helpless and puts a sword to her throat, gets a warning against killing and demands an apology before dodging spit then some fire. Then, after he's rendered her completely helpless, he throws down the sword and says not even a title is worth putting up with her before walking out and breaking his amour. The broadcast crashed to commercial and hasn't come back on. Bob explains and Amadi lets out a low whistle. Well, shit. We're going to need to pay a lot of attention because I highly doubt the Apuk are ever going to forget this. Amadi remarks, No kidding. You said you were watching the ball, right? Bob asks, Yeah, we're getting a delayed broadcast, so there are some funky gaps. What's going on? Amadi asks and can't help but smile as he notes Jenny greeting another customer in the diner. A quick little tally mark with a marker on a bit of paper in his sleeve as she passes a chip. Attempted and failed interruptions. The Admiral is diffusing all of them, and eventually Lady Cock went off in a huff. Bob answers and Amadi snorts. That feathery idiot is about as subtle as a brick to the face. He notes even as he jots down some of the details of the person receiving the drop. From what he'd been able to scrounge, this is one of the blackened tips. The fact that the Paveress has the tips of her head crest feathers stained black is the giveaway. A bunch of assassins who kill for righteousness. It would actually be something of use to the Dauntless if only the idiots didn't judge righteousness on who was or was not fashionable. As it stands, they're just a bunch of murderous idiots, one who's giving him a rather harsh look. I think I may be in some trouble. A member of the Blackened Tips is giving me the stink eye. Amadi explains as the Paveress gets up and starts walking towards him. Which ones are those again? Bob asks. The murderous fashion police. Hang on, I think I'm about to get in a fight. Amadi replies as he pulls the phone away. May I help you, madam? He asks, and the cultist grabs him by the chin and examines him. Are you one of those so-called humans or a threat? The cultist asks, and Amadi raises an eyebrow. Why? He asks, and she sniffs deeply of the air. Because you appear to be in season, and no doubt whatever silly little girl you're tied to is not keeping you satisfied if you still reek of hormones. She notes, and there's an upset huff from Jenny. You? Dear goodness, one would expect a rabbi's to be able to satisfy a single man with how often you little things run in warrens, packs, herds, harlots. Yes, that's it, a harlot of rabbis. The Paveress remarks and Amadi sighs. Is something the matter? Just the shocking lack of manners. Amadi notes as he starts messing with the local axiom to have illusions cover up the fact that he's grabbing his drink and climbing over the seat to get out of harm's way, just in case the sass backfires. Oh, lacking manners am I? She asks, and her hand snaps out to grab the illusion, passing through it instantly. What? She asks, and Amadi sighs at just how quickly he's been caught. He doesn't make a very good Anansi the Spider now, does he? Madam, you're a Paveress and I'm being sassy. Those tail feathers do double duty as blades and I know it. You think I'd cut you? I do not know you, madam. Assumptions are unwise. Amadi answers through his illusion even as he gets up from the next table over and takes a few steps to be beside Jenny. Don't react. I'm right beside you. He whispers low enough that she just barely catches it and nearly starts, but her hand hits him in the side and she settles down as she realizes what's going on. She then grabs his ass and gives it a firm squeeze. The illusion of Amadi flickers away as he yelps in surprise. Did you have to choose exactly then to give my ass a squeeze? He demands crossly as Jenny breaks down into laughter. The cultist giggles in response to the interplay. If that weapon I'm spotting is anything to go by, you're a human, meaning eternal heat, are you not? Yes, I'm human. Why though? Is it true that your race is perpetually in heat? She asks, rolling the R sounds to get a purring sensation out. No. Amadi begins to see her face fall. My kind has no heat cycle, merely puberty and impotence. He remarks and her eyes widen and he can see the churning of her thoughts. And that is time for me to go. See you soon, Jenny. He says, slapping the rabbis on the ass in a turn around as he bends the colors around him to become little more than a distortion in the air. Oh, no, you don't, the Paveress says, grabbing him by the arm as Jenny does the same. My, it seems my man is feeling frisky. Mind following us into the back so we can wear him down a little? Jenny asks, and the freaking peacock harpy smiles wide with an eager nod. I'm fairly sure I should get a say in this, Amadi notes as he drinks what's left of his silm. Are you saying I'm not good enough for you? The Paveress demands, and Amadi gives Jenny a look that flies so far over her head it nearly achieves escape velocity. I don't even know your name. Besides, I may be a rough and tumble soldier, but I've got... Actually, no, I can't claim standards, can I? After telling me to bring all my friends willing to be frisky. You bet you can't. Jenny remarks, and Amadi's eyebrows go up. I guess I'm a slut then. How about that? Amadi notes with a distinctly amused look on his face as he puts his emptied mug down. No, you're not. You're just finding your partners. I mean, really, 15 girls to one man is more prudish than liberal. Jenny replies, and Amadi suddenly takes on a dazed expression. 15 to me, and I'm being conservative. The galaxy is awesome. He chuckles, gazing off into the distance as he wonders exactly how in the pits of hell he's ever going to explain this to his family back home. He can't exactly call and tell them that he's got 15 Playboy bunny supermodels with extra arms and they think they're the lucky ones, not without his cousin bursting a vein or two. Does he do that often? The Paverus asks. Every now and then. Usually when he's considering how different things are in cruel space. Jenny answers. Oh? She presses with a smile. Usually about how his family will never believe it. There was a rant on how lucky he was. Jenny starts listing off, holding up one hand and another. I may have my mind on the other side of the galaxy, but that doesn't mean my ears have stopped working, Amadi remarks before Jenny can continue. If you're still with us, why are you hesitating? I can tell you want it, she says, crossing her arm wings and hefting up her substantial bosom. Covered in feathers or not, the massively ripe breasts catch his attention. You haven't even introduced yourself. Slut or not, I got at least an introduction and a recommendation for all of Jenny's friends and family. I've had neither from or of you. He continues and she pauses. This is Madam Abigail Tykenped, a distant relation to the Speaker of the Council and Senior Secretary of the Traffic Wardens. Those that want to get out of their fees have to get past her first, Jenny announces, and Abigail fluffs herself up, bringing her large breasts to even greater prominence. Well, I suppose sweet-talking my way out of an oncoming speeding ticket is a decent way to spend my time. Amadi chuckles. I am Amadi Nenge Adegoke. I'm an African man of the western part of the continent. I'd explain more, but much would fly over your head. But needless to say, there is a storied history to my people, as there is no doubt for yours as well. I am a soldier and a scholar, part of the Nerd Squad, a group of unofficial Axiom researchers and the first group of human Axiom researchers, official or otherwise. I see. Then perhaps we could all get better acquainted in the break room in the back? Abigail asks, and Amadi follows cultural norms and glances towards Jenny. Come on, you two. I need a bit of an itch scratching, but it won't be enough for Mr. Never in Heat because it's always mating season. But it is, though, Amadi fake protests as he lets Jenny lead him and Abigail into the back. The weak alien coffee followed by some kinky alien sex with a repressed bird woman. He could dig it.